Parliamentary Sovereignty Part 2. Constraints and Relationship with Europe. According to A.V. Dicey 1885, sovereignty, that is, ultimate power, lies with Parliament. Dicey outlined the main features of parliamentary sovereignty as 1. Parliament can make any law it wishes, omnicompetence. 2. Parliament cannot bind future parliaments. 3. The courts must apply the laws made by Parliament. 4. Laws made by Parliament override all other forms of law. Constraints on parliamentary sovereignty include political sovereignty and popular sovereignty. Political sovereignty refers to where power actually lies. In many ways, in reality, sovereignty lies with the government rather than with Parliament. The government will set the legislative agenda and is responsible for introducing public bills in Parliament. Due to the fact that the government has a majority in the Commons, there is little opposition to such bills in the Commons. Under the Salisbury Convention, the House of Lords will not vote against a bill that was in the government's manifesto. Popular sovereignty refers to where power lies with the people. There is strong popular sovereignty in the UK, as can be seen in the Brexit referendum. Despite the fact there was no need to hold a referendum and that referendums are not legally binding under the UK Constitution, both Theresa May and Boris Johnson committed to action the will of the people. The EU Withdrawal Bill 2017 was passed by Parliament despite the fact that the majority of MPs and Lords did not agree with it. UK membership of the EU had a number of impacts on parliamentary sovereignty. The EU could issue directives which dictated what laws Parliament had to introduce, which interfered with their freedom to introduce any law it wishes. A failure to implement a directive could have resulted in court action. For example, the case of re-tachographs, the Commission v UK 1979, where the UK Parliament failed to introduce law relating to tachographs. EU law ranked above UK statute law. This was seen in the controversial Factortame case in 1991 involving Spanish fishermen exercising their rights of freedom of establishment under EU law. This enabled them to take advantage of the British fishing quota. Where there was a conflict with EU law, the courts had to apply EU law and not the UK statute. The UK is no longer a member of the EU and therefore Parliament has taken back sovereignty. Westminster Parliament has devolved powers to the Scottish Parliament, Welsh Assembly and the Northern Ireland Assembly. Devolution has resulted in quasi-federalism, whereby some powers have been retained by Westminster and other matters have been devolved. This gives them the power to make certain laws without Westminster's approval. For example, Scotland reduced the voting age to 16 in 2015 and abolished tuition fees for university students in 2008. Ultimately, Parliament has sovereignty. Parliament can block proposed legislation. The Salisbury Convention is not written in the Constitution and can be departed from without legal effect. Parliament can dismiss the government by passing a vote of no confidence, as was seen in 1979 when James Callaghan's Labour government was removed prematurely from office after a vote was called by Thatcher. R. Miller v. Secretary of State for exiting the EU 2016 demonstrated that Theresa May could not trigger Article 50 without the approval of Parliament. It can remove powers from the Scottish Parliament and Welsh and Northern Ireland assemblies. It has reserved powers which can only be exercised by Westminster. Parliament may withdraw any powers that have been delegated to government ministers or local authorities. In summary, parliamentary sovereignty relates to Parliament having ultimate power. Whilst there are some constraints and limitations on Parliament's power, Parliament still retains ultimate power. Citizens' rights are therefore at the mercy of Parliament and the courts are powerless to uphold individuals' rights against Parliament. This video is part of a series of videos on law from www.e-lawresources.co.uk. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/e-lawresources. It's free to do so and will help us to keep providing these videos. Check out our website, which provides lecture outlines and case summaries. See also www.elawrevision.org.uk for revision games and quizzes. Thanks for watching.